While Brian's coming in, he's connecting. Oh, what's up?
Right, I'm just holding my phone now, so I'm gonna have to figure out a way to prop this up. Ugh,
Oh,
that
that
sun's just
sun's
blinding me.
brutal.
Yeah, that's a little rough. So we're gonna go over here-ish, and everyone can look up my nose.
Oh, that's perfect. Right, right, like that. Upside down is perfect for you. It's
Am I
like
upside down on your side now?
yeah, it's like you're hanging from a cave like a vampire.
Come on, come
Which
on.
is
Apple releases their new
which is
phone,
cool.
and then the next day everything just goes to hell.
What do you think about the iPhone X? Would you pay $1,000 for that phone?
Oh God, yeah, I would.
I saw something like
Because
that, and as soon as I saw it, I'm like, yeah, I'm not even going to question it. I know I'll pay that, so just take my money and
I
whatever.
know it. So I'm still on the. I think this is technically the 5. I don't even think it's the 5S that I have now.
Yeah.
And the only reason I got it is because they released the new one, and then the 5S got discounted. So it was cheap. I just said, "Oh, okay. Now that this is, I'll go get that one now." So I'm due for something a little bit bigger, I think. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's. I don't know. That's the new like Retina screen and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's stuff that we definitely don't need, but I want it.
Yeah, dude, we're gonna have to get you a for sale sign that's printed backwards.
I know. I was talking to somebody last time, and he's like, "Oh, did you realize you printed your sign backwards?" I was like, "Oh, very funny." So I wrote him a backwards message. Um, Not very nice, but it was. So I don't know. Anyway, but I know you have a productivity app that limits your social media time.
Yes, yeah, I do. So it's linked to Facebook and Instagram, and then like a myriad of car forums and
Mm.
places like that. So it gives me about 5 minutes a day on some of those, and then it locks everything out.
What's it called?
On the well, it's on the desktop at least. It's called. I think it's just called Product. Hang on a sec. I'll try and log into Facebook, and it'll tell me exactly what it's called. It is kind of interesting though, because it gives you 5 minutes, and then once it locks you out,
Hmm.
it puts this giant paragraph up in front of you, and if you can type the paragraph verbatim with spaces and punctuation and everything, it'll unlock the site. But if
Wow.
you screw up at any point, then it relocks you out. So
Mm.
it's designed to be so frustrating that like you never get through the paragraph.
I just can't even.
Yeah, you're just
Yeah.
like no. All right, it's called Stay Focused.
Stay focused. So if
Yeah.
anybody's out there looking for a productivity hack, if you're at work right now on Facebook Live when you should be working, watching us, it's probably something that you should look into. But since we'll try to keep this around 5 minutes. So I was given a short introduction before you phoned in here. Brian is the recruiter in the Cedar Rapids market. I'm the recruiter in the Coralville, Iowa City market for Skogman Realty. So we just wanted to chat about kind of becoming a real estate agent, what it's like.
Mhm.
First of all, why did you get into real estate? What were you doing prior to real estate, or what was the switch for you?
Yeah, so I originally came in fresh out of college. I had a background in art history and architectural history, so didn't really have the job prospects out there were not
Right.
great. And and I had this idea that I was going to be this famous architect, realtor, and just design and sell all of my own houses. And by the time I got into school, I was pretty tired. Didn't really want to go on and do the grad school thing. And Skogman Realty stepped forward and they said, "Hey, we think that you'd be good at this. We want to stay in Cedar Rapids," and that was really kind of it. I signed on, and it's been 6 years now, and can't imagine doing anything else. But
Yeah.
I think, like most of us, it was kind of a winding path that brought me in.
Yeah. How did you first find Skogman?
Just online, actually. So I pulled up all the real estate companies in town here locally and was just doing some research, due diligence on everybody that was out there.
Hmm.
Um, and then, I mean, like most people, I knew that I saw their signs the most.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of they were top of mind for me from there forward.
Sure, sure. Well, it's a great place for new agents. Obviously, this isn't to plug Skogman, but it's a great place for people to be able to kind of learn and incubate, I guess you could say. So, being a recruiter in Cedar Rapids, what are the common misconceptions that people feel about real estate agents? So, they expect it to be X and it's actually Y. What are some of the misconceptions that you see when you talk with prospective agents?
I would say the biggest misconception is just the amount of time that it's going to take to get your business up and going. I think that there's a lot of people that get really excited about having control over their own schedule, and it's true, you do have, control over all of your own schedule. You can be your own boss. But I think sometimes people get a rosy picture that you're going to come in and make $1 million in 6 months, and it's all going to be, butterflies and candy corn, and it can be a lot of fun, but it's as much fun as you put effort into it. So it's 60-hour weeks. It's working late. It's up early in the morning, and you gotta love that kind of lifestyle. And if you do, it can be amazing, but it takes a lot of effort.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, one quote that goes along with that always kind of stuck with me, that I think it was on a podcast that I was listening to from a mega producer. They said that a lot of people get into the business. Yeah, I want to be my own boss. I want to control my own schedule. What ends up happening is people abuse that time freedom that real estate can allow. And obviously that has a direct effect on your financial freedom. So if you're not working and you're not creating business and you're not doing the dollar productive activities that you need to succeed, then you're not going to make any money.
Right. Yeah, I think that's exactly right.
Yeah. What do you see as far as kind of attributes of, you've been in the business long enough to see some successful agents and some not successful agents. What attributes and personality traits do you see for people who tend to be on that successful end of the spectrum?
Good question. So I think for me, it's a combination of drive, emotional resilience, and then self-awareness. It all sounds kind of vague, but I guess what I mean is we really need people, or the successful agents are the ones that can self-motivate. So they're really self-driven. They don't need somebody telling them, when to get up, when to get to the office. They know why they're coming in every day. But at the same time, I think they have to be self-aware, because if you're 100 miles an hour, 7 days a week, 365, you'll tend to burn out. So we need people that also understand how to do that work-life balance, and again, kind of make those adjustments. And then lastly, it's people that are emotionally resilient. This business has a lot of ups and downs. You can hear no 10 times in a row for 10 days in a row. You got to come back to work on day 11. So you got to have some thick skin to be in this industry as well.
Yeah, totally. What you're seeing, what is kind of the average time from somebody who's thinking about getting started as a real estate agent after classes and training? How long does that typically take with the agents that you're working with?
You mean to get through the process altogether?
Yeah.
I'd say maybe about 3 months. If you did the process kind of in the orderly fashion that it's laid out right now. So going through your classes, getting your tests done, and getting your license can be as short as a couple of months. Otherwise, if you want to do online classes kind of here and there, you can take anywhere. I mean, it could take a year if you really wanted it to. It's just a matter of kind of when you want to get in the business, when you want to get up and running.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty quick. Some people, well, so I guess I have some agents that are like, hey, I'm ready to start tomorrow. And some agents are like, I'm going to be there in 2 years. So I think it varies depending on people transitioning out of other jobs or just getting the confidence to start this new career.
Yeah. I mean, at some point you just got to jump, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's what I did. I mean, I was talking about it for like 5 years. My wife, I think, got tired of me talking about wanting to become a real estate agent. She's just like, shut up, just go do it. And I did what I had to do to make that switch and that jump. And like you, I'm glad that I made that change when I did. It's been nice, but obviously also been a little bit like this too.
Yeah. Ooh, that looks good. That's nice.
So since you've been in the business just, I think, about a year longer than I have, so maybe 6 to 5 years, is that right?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. Yeah. So when you first started after training and you're a licensed real estate agent and you're ready to go, what was your biggest hurdle at that time? Whether it's creating business or whether it's connecting or whether it's setting appointments, what was your biggest hurdle when you first started out?
So my biggest hurdle, honestly, was just building that sphere. So I originally went to College here in Cedar Rapids, which is a residential school. Had a great time there, but when I graduated, most people left. I hadn't really spent all that much time off campus. So I didn't know the city. I didn't know anybody here, and so that was kind of a struggle for me. So for those really the first 5 years for me most of my business came from open houses. But for those first 2 years, I did 5 to 6 open houses a weekend, every weekend. I was out there on
Wow.
Easter. I was out there Thanksgiving. I mean, I wanted to know at the end of the day when I went to sleep that I did everything I could that day to try and make it work. So,
Yeah.
that's what it took.
Sure.
Now, that doesn't mean that everybody's going to have to do that. That was just kind of my path.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. So mine was a lot different. I mean, I guess, yeah, I hated doing open houses.
Hmm.
I won't lie about it. It just wasn't my jam, but it works. It works really well for other people
Yeah.
who are trying to create a sphere of influence. So once you're able to kind of establish all your open houses, how did you then take it? You've created all these new clients. How do you continue to maintain and communicate with your past clients in your sphere?
Good question. So it's kind of interesting because there are a million different products out there that will, that you can buy. Let's say that they'll be in contact with your clients for you, and they'll do this, and they'll automate everything. But I guess for me, the best thing I found is just to pick up the phone or write them a note. I mean,
Sure.
you can't automate personalization, right? Like if you want people to know you and like you have to do that.
Yeah.
So for me, it's a lot of just kind of making sure that I'm meeting up with people at least once a year, and we're doing real estate reviews just so they know kind of what's been happening in their market and their neighborhood. And then, if nothing else, it gives me an excuse just to meet up with them and kind of see, what's been going on in their life in the past year.
Sure.
If you know these people, you get to know them really well, then they tend to take care of you.
Absolutely. And I know we're on a kind of a time schedule here. You have a
Yes.
productivity limit, which is good for all of us involved. But lastly, do you see right now, obviously, there's a lot of economic changes and weather changes, and everything seems to be
Mm.
changing. I guess that's the only thing that remains consistent is change
Yeah.
in all places, everywhere. But have you seen any trending changes in the real estate industry as far as how real estate agents conduct business?
Yes and no. I mean, I think that technology has been ever changing for years in real estate. I mean, there are, old school agents tell us about the days when the MLS was literally just a book that sat on their
Right.
desk, and now you and I are, 30 minutes apart talking via video on my cell phone, right? So
Right. Yeah.
the industry has gone through, I think, just tremendous change in the past 40 years. And to your point, I think that there's always going to be new tools and products that are coming out. I think the hard part of the big change for us is just being able to evaluate those tools, implement the ones that do make your life easier, that make your client's life easier. And sometimes that can be a struggle figuring those out. But yeah, I think the biggest change on the horizon right now is just kind of the unknown of how all of this new tech and everything that's going to come out, how can we implement that and really make the process easier on everybody?
Sure. No, good points. I think the biggest takeaway there for me in my recommendation or my points to new agents or existing agents is there's so many shiny objects out there, and
Mm.
I've become a victim of the shiny object syndrome where I try this for a little bit and I try that for a little bit and this and that, but nothing can replace, going back to what you said about automating personalization, nothing can go back to just being a good salesperson and a good service person and providing timely and good quality service to your clients, whatever
Right.
industry you're doing. Nothing can replace that. And
Right.
we live in the Midwest, and that's what the Midwest nice. That's what people expect from us. So that's what we
Yeah.
provide. So don't get, for all those agents who are trying this and trying that, don't get too caught up in trying to have the next best thing, but just be yourself and provide that great service. And I think you can't do that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, all right, man. Well, I know you got to get back to work. You're at your limit today, and I appreciate you.
do.
I appreciate you taking up your limit with me. So we'll talk to you later, my friend. If anybody
All
wants
right.
to find Brian, just Google his name. You'll find him.
Yeah.
He's in Cedar Rapids. He's with Skogman Realty. Just type his name in the search bar and you'll find him.
Yeah. Only positive things will show up.
Right. None of those 2-star reviews. We deleted those.
All right, man. I appreciate it. Thank
All right.
you.
All right. Take care,
See
buddy.
ya.
Bye. All right, everybody. So that was Mr. Brian. Brian's a great resource for everything real estate related in the Cedar Rapids market. Knows a lot about, I think, BMWs too. He's a car guy. So as we're finishing up here, if anybody who's watching, I know I only have like 7 viewers, and that's okay, but if anybody's watching and curious about becoming a real estate agent, feel free to post your questions there. What's the licensing requirements? How long does it take? When do I get it? Where can I get this information? Feel free to leave me a comment there. If it's live, I can answer it now. If it comes later, of course I'll get a notification for it, and I'll follow up. But yeah, let me just go over here briefly and find my folder. So anybody who's thinking about becoming a real estate agent, obviously you have to be licensed to do real estate related activities, showing property, writing purchase agreements, advising your clients. But the salesperson requirements, as per the state of Iowa, you have to complete 60 hours of pre-license education. So that 60 hours of pre-license education can either be taken online, or it can be taken in classroom. Skogman Realty offers all in-house classes for everything, and we do reimburse for, if you're a Skogman agent, we do reimburse for your classes. So you have to take 60 hours of continuing education or pre-license, then you have to take 36 hours of continuing education. That's 12 hours of buying practices, 12 hours of listing practices, and 12 hours of developing professionalism. A lot of questions that I get is, do I have to take one class before the other? The answer is no. Our structure of classes is built that way, where you take your 60 hours, you take your real estate exam, then you take your 36. But depending on where you can find it in the state and where you take it, you can take the 36 first, you can take the 60 first. The 36 can't be taken online. They currently do not offer that, from my understanding. One of the biggest things that holds agent back as far as a timeline is concerned is their fingerprint and background checks. Real Estate Commission runs every applicant through a background check and fingerprinting check, just to make sure you don't have any no-nos on your report. That can take 4, 6, sometimes 8 weeks to process, depending on how many people. I got a question here. Today's rates, I keep hearing that this is a seller's market. I'm just wondering when, or if you think that trend will flop in the next couple of years. My biggest concern is the rise of prices. Thank you, Joshua. That's a great question. So I think it's been a seller's market, in my opinion. So I primarily work in the Johnson County market, Coralville, Iowa City, North Liberty, Tiffin. I don't disagree. I think it's been a seller's market, in my opinion, for a couple years. I think we're seeing a little bit of plateauing, where it's becoming a little bit more even. I've had sellers not be able to get the prices that they could have gotten a year ago. It depends on the price range. I think up to 200, it's still a heavy seller's market as far as competitiveness with buyers. 200 to 300, it gets a little bit more competitive. Sellers have to negotiate. Typically outside of our 98% sales to list price ratio, they got to negotiate a little bit more. And then you go 300 plus. That's new construction, bigger houses. That's I would say that's more of a buyer's market in that, because the available supply is equal to the demand. There's not a big adverse levels to one another. So back to what it takes to get to a salesperson license. You have to pass a state exam. So that is 40 questions of the state section and 80 questions of the national section. You need 28 of the 40 state to pass, and you need 56 of the 80 to pass. So, and you cannot take your real estate exam until you take the 60 hours. But once you have the 60 hours, whether it's in classroom or whether it's online, you can take your test. You have to get errors and omissions insurance, which is real estate related kind of business insurance to protect you for errors and omissions, not malpractice and not accidents like that, but it's very specific. So make sure you read what that is covering when you become a real estate agent, to make sure that you or your team doesn't need additional insurance. Again, I would put the disclaimer out there to contact your insurance representative and see what they would recommend, and that you definitely want to make sure you're covered always in all ways. And then you sign with a broker. You have to, once you get a real estate license, you have to align with a real estate broker, unless you're creating your own solo brokerage, and you can do your own thing there. So that's what it takes to get a salesperson license. But anyway, I don't know. If anybody has any other questions, I'll hang out here for a little while longer. But if not, we'll close it down. What else can I talk about? Oh, one thing that I did want to mention, when people become a real estate agent or are thinking about becoming a real estate agent, everybody's always curious about the cost involved. The most important thing here is not, the startup costs are one thing. Skogman Real Estate, we cover the startup costs, but the thing that a lot of people don't consider is the recurring costs. So you have to, as a real estate agent, you have what we call dues. They are dues you pay to your local real estate board. So Cedar Rapids area of realtors has their own real estate board. Iowa City area has their own real estate board. And what we do as agents is we pay into the real estate board, and the board covers things similar to like an HOA. So we pay into the board, and the board then in return provides us services, admin assistance, documents and meetings and education and all those things in return for us paying the dues. We also pay state dues to the to the Iowa Association of Realtors, which covers similar items, and then we pay national dues to the National Association of Realtors as well. So it's not a cheap industry. I don't think you'll ever talk with any real estate agent and they say, "Oh yeah, it's so inexpensive." It does cost a decent amount. So I'm just looking at my current sheet, and these numbers change all the time. But you're looking at 100 or so a month on a kind of a bare bones operating budget. That doesn't include your marketing. That doesn't include your listing photography, your extra business insurance, or anything like that. That's primarily dues. Oh yeah, Sage. So thank you for posting that. Sage says, this is all great information. I just had somebody asking all these questions. Thank you, Jared and Brian. So thank you, Sage, for turning in. Anytime anybody has any questions, you can contact myself or Brian, and we are happy to help. That's what we're here for. Brian and I have been in the recruiting position for a little over a year now, helping new to the business real estate agents get started, answer all their questions, as well as existing agents who are thinking about a switch to a different company if they want to or if they need to. So anytime, that's what we're here for. Even if you're not ready to go in the next 2 years, maybe it's 5 years or 10 years, or you're just thinking about it, that's what we're here for. We like to educate and inform and help people if they need it. So with that said, I'm going to sign off here and get back to work. I don't have a productivity limit like Brian does, but I should still get back to work and get back to my clients. So I appreciate everybody tuning in. Thank you. Have a great Wednesday. Bye.